Fore Players by Barstool Sports. We are back for our second show of the week. My first topic, it just says Rangers suck, is what I wrote on the outline.
That's so accurate. Honestly, can't even say anything about it. They look like they're stuck in mud. They're a horrible hockey team.
I watched that game and just got fucking hard as a rock.
Tell me you bet on the Rangers to win, too.
Oh, my God. I bet on the Rangers to win. I'm responsibly losing so much money on the
That
New
is a
York Rangers.
responsible gamble. Honestly, that's the most responsible gamble of all time because you're just even your body out.
Also, Jake, I forgot to record for that little moan, so that might come in as computerized in the beginning. But I will say this. I didn't say this on the last recording. I have been betting the New York Rangers. This is something I've been doing. I feel like I'm buying losses, and I don't know if anyone else has ever done this, but it's essentially hedging your own happiness, where I know that if the New York Rangers go on this miracle, unbelievable run, I'm going to be the most sad person on the planet. I'm going to be a sad little boy. I'm going to be sitting there pouting and stomping my feet and crying and, wow, the Rangers are so bad. I'm going to be so mad. But the other side is like, what if I just happen to just make like 10 grand on this run? What if I itemize each game where it's like, I'll bet 250 on game 1 and 500 on game 2. And I'll just keep going until if they continue to win games, I'm going to continue to make money. So for me, even when they lose and I lose, I feel like I bought the win last night. There was a feeling where I felt like I made a purchase. And I'm like, you know what? That's the greatest purchase I've ever made. Like a 7-2 win in Pittsburgh.
Are you gonna risk a double here in Game 5? Are you gonna?
Well, I've now doubled up on winning the series bet. Because like it's just if they come back and fucking you're talking percentages here. There's been, I think the percentage of a team down 3-1, it's like the team that's up 3-1 is like 950 or something like that. It's phenomenally bad odds for the Rangers. So
They just look like an AHL team. This guy Braun on defense is horrible. Nemeth is bad. They all look slow. The guy Braun, there was a goal and he didn't stop and start once. He just did a bunch of turns and then they just went around him and scored. It was one of the worst defensive plays of all time. I actually wanted to tweet out 61's doing pirouettes out there, but I couldn't for the life of me figure out how to spell that word, so I just quit the tweet. I have no idea how to spell pirouette.
Pirouette.
Yeah, I don't think you know how to say it either.
Yeah, I think that's probably part of the problem.
It's
how
Frankie.
Do you spell it? T, do you know how to spell it?
No, I don't know how to spell it. Pirouette? I wouldn't even know. I mean, I know where to start, but I wouldn't know to go right after that.
Give me your first 3 letters. That's what I couldn't get.
PYR?
But you couldn't figure it out for a tweet? You couldn't be resourceful.
I was honestly so
tweet?
mad, and I was just like, nobody's going to get the context either, so just...
I'm surprised that's ever crossed your mind. Really.
That's interesting.
I had a moment like that. I had a podcast moment off the podcast today with my buddy Kyle. I was talking to him about a situation or something. I forgot how that came up, but I was trying to say, I said, yeah, these guys have all Eliases. And I kept going. I'm like, Eliases, and he stopped me mid-conversation. He's like, did you mean aliases? And I was like, I think so. But I must have said Elias's 2 or 3 times in a group of people, to a group of people. And Elias's is probably the worst one I've ever done. It sounded like some character from Hercules.
Have you
but
been
nobody
saying
called you out for a while?
Have you been saying it that way your whole life too?
Yeah, because aliases for sure sounds right off the tongue. And I know I haven't said that word. It feels new off the tongue. Alias definitely is something that... It feels fresh. Let me just say that. Elias definitely came off right off the rip. Just off the bat, crack single to left field, no problems. Rounding first base, undoing the fucking batting gloves.
You've been doing Elias's. You've been saying Elias's.
Elias's has been in my fucking book. Alias for sure feels new. So, but yeah, no, the Rangers got their fucking dick stomped on. They got fed it raw, real dry, and it is what it is. And if they come back and win, I'll be a dead person. But things are looking good, It's just it's fun time to be a hockey fan.
I will give a little context. We're recording Tuesday night. There's a lot of travel going on, so we're recording Tuesday night. So if things have changed, Rangers are playing Wednesday night. Is that right, Lurch?
That is.
It doesn't appear that they will,
No.
but if they,
it feels like there's no hope for a Friday game.
Might be
they're
worse.
horrible.
Well, they're playing at
so
home,
slow.
so they're a much
Doesn't
better
matter.
home team.
Have you seen them move around the ice? It looks
I
like
saw
they're
it.
in quicksand. I mean, they haven't won one puck battle. They just, I mean, we were joking around. It feels like it's like Thursday night skate with your boys. And you're just like, nobody's getting injured out here now. We're just going to kind of, throw pucks to the net. Nobody's going to back check. And yeah, we'll just, if somebody wins 9-7, somebody wins 9-7. I mean, it's some of the worst hockey I've ever seen.
I watched the whole third period completely naked.
Were you touching yourself? You must have been touching yourself.
From time to time, like my hands got below my hips. I mean, there's no doubt about it. So yeah, I was just sitting there being like, this is awesome. Just ice cold bowl of ice cream, Breyers, mint chocolate chip, just right on my chest, freezing my chest, just fucking naked as a mole rat.
Sounds right. I mean, yeah, celebrate. I mean, they are a horrible.
That's all I
hockey team
have.
right now.
That's all I have.
Yeah, Barry Trotz is gone.
Yep.
Blues are 2-2, but again, we're recording Tuesday night. People are listening on Thursday. It could be 3-2. It will be 3-2 unless there's an unbelievably long overtime, one way or the other. But yeah, Rangers, boy, oh boy, I bet them last night too, and I did not feel good about that. 7-2 was the final, I think. So
7-2.
we're at Le Berge Casino, beautiful Lake Charles. We're down there with the whole Barstool Classic squad, and we get a nice dinner set up at Ember Steakhouse, and they got the Ranger game on. We got like this kind of like side private room. They got the only TV that's in there. It's right in our face. Rangers. It's 1-1, and the boys, Mancini and Zach, are like, we bet the Rangers live. It's 1-1. We're like, awesome. I jump on it. Bang, bang, bang. The Penguins just score. So then I'm like chasing. I'm like, well, if I thought they were going to win a minute ago, now I think they're still going to win, but I get really good odds. Put more on it. Just bang. Penguins scores like 2 more goals. It's like 6-2. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? So that team's awful. That's just an awful hockey team, whatever they're doing over there.
So we set up. We had a great night ahead. My brother just got an outdoor TV, outdoor fireplace, invited friends over. Frankie's literally jerking off.
His clothes are going to start to come off real soon.
I fucking love this. I always think about how like much money people spend to go to the Garden and they're with their dads. I love the whole thing. Just like
So
leaving
anyways,
all upset. Oh, it makes me hard, dude.
Really secure individual.
Hard, dude.
listen to my voice, Frankie.
have a Roman
You might come right now. So anyways, we have a big group. Somebody brings over
This is his wet dream.
we've just got we got burgers going, beers, everybody's happy, Rangers hot start, and then the wheels fall off. Then it's like one of the worst hockey games ever where people are just like, I'm just like adamant, like just shitting on the hockey team, being like, nobody cares. So like Gallant said, soft all over the ice, totally agree. So in the second, they get down 4-1. And then they get a goal to go back 4-2 with like 2.5 minutes left to go in the second period. And I'm like, all right, maybe if we can sneak this out, we're 2-goal lead going into the third. No. They go bang, bang in the last 90 seconds to go 6-2. And then, honestly, just blow the whole thing up. So that ruined the whole night, obviously. People were depressed. And then we had the audacity to watch post-game with Hank, Valiquette. And I mean, those guys were near tears. I mean, Hank was like, it was a bad effort, real, like, just a somber mood. So, yeah, have a ball, Frankie.
Awesome. It is what it's Igor. He's gotten pulled 2 nights in a row. The prince that was
I can't
promised.
really blame him, though, man.
Yeah, but when you do this
Totally,
with 15 games left in the regular season to the
100%,
Penguins, and like
100%.
they come back and kick you, and like you're
100%,
in
without
the locker
question.
room in period 3, back-to-back games.
Awful stuff. Oh my God.
That's what like curses are made out of. You know, it's like the little gobble neck. You don't do that. You just don't give them
regular
bulletin
season
board
just
material.
couldn't mean less, honestly. So
You're gonna do that to Sidney Crosby?
he's treating our team like a bunch of children.
Sidney Crosby has 6 straight multi-point games in the playoffs against the Rangers. I mean, think about that stat. How hard it is to get points in playoff games.
It's always tough. It's always tough when these teams draw the Penguins, especially in years when the Penguins aren't touted as being as good as they've been, because they still have it. Like Malkin is still just scoring. He's injured. He's not a factor ever. And then playoffs start, and he's scoring. Sidney Crosby is the best player of the last 20 years, and it's not close how good that guy is. And now you just have to go up against those guys in the playoffs. I mean, of course they're going to fucking score goals.
Yeah.
Scary.
Yeah, I mean, he's dominating our team. That line is absolutely dominating. Gensel has 5 or 6 goals in the playoffs.
That guy scores all the time.
I mean, and like somebody said it was like, they're giving Crosby so much attention, which they have to, but it's not like he's like scoring, but he's dominating the ice and passing, and there's just so many open areas. It's really, I mean, it's a humbling game. Hopefully the youngsters on the team get taught a little bit of a lesson. We're better. It doesn't feel like this year is going to pan out for us. Maybe there's some heroics, but honestly, I saw that there was like a tweet of them skating and hustling around the ice. I was like, how about we give the boys a day off, because they look as slow as a hockey team could ever be. I mean, anyways, it is what it is, but we're going down.
Well, congratulations to Frankie. I know this has been one of his more enjoyable segments ever, and last night was probably great, and tomorrow night is probably going to be really nice for you too when they go down officially. Much to discuss, much to get to. Greg Norman has done another interview where he was yet pressed. We got some Scottie Scheffler, some Rory McIlroy. I want to talk about this Tom Brady deal, what it could mean for broadcasting and golf going forward. And we got a bunch of from the gallery, from the fans out there. We can talk about Celsuis first. Celsuis helps you stay active and energized all day. The Rangers might need Celsuis. You might want to hit them up. Lurch, I know family's been season ticket holders for a long time, so you might have some connections there. Get them some Celsius made with premium ingredients, 0 sugar, 7 essential vitamins, not like a traditional energy drink. This is sounding more and more like you guys are going to need this. Delicious flavors, including mango passion fruit, raspberry acai, peach mango, strawberry lemonade, way more. The list goes on and on. My favorite's probably raspberry acai because Lurch can't say acai, so that makes me gravitate towards it. So Celsius is fantastic stuff. We have discussed at length how you used to think the old school energy drinks were great for you when you're a kid. Find out, nope, sugar, all kinds of bad stuff going on in there. Celsius, the opposite. Premium ingredients, 0 sugar, 7 essential vitamins, delicious flavors. Go to Celsius.com to find a store near you or order online at Amazon, Walmart, or Target. This is what we drink. This is what Lurch, Frankie, Trent, myself, Jake Bass, Brennan Jones, Alex Bush, everybody's drinking this stuff. Mm-hmm. Celsius.com. Find a store near you. Order online at Amazon, Walmart, or Target. All right. Collin Morikawa video. So that is has come out now once you are watching this. Incredibly funny. Collin Morikawa is such an absolute savage when it comes to competition. We've discussed all the time, many times. We're so blown away at his maturity, his ability to give these speeches after he won the British Open, how he approaches interviews, how well-rounded he is, and what you really kind of almost forget when you get him in these cool environments. He wore the suit, took Frankie's idea, which Frankie took to somebody else, and he wore the suit to Liberty National. You forget that he's just a competitive, absolute savage who will do anything to win. And when he did win, he was not going to let anybody off the hook when it came to a punishment.
Also gave us – oh, no, go ahead.
Well, no, I just feel like I am being desensitized to how amazing these videos are coming out every single Tuesday.
Yeah.
It's like, had this been a one-off, it's the only thing we'd be talking about for the last year. If you're like when we were first starting out as a podcast and getting videos and like trying to get our names out there and our brand, if we got a video with Collin Morikawa, who going into this year was the number one ranked American golfer that we have here in this great state of the United States of America. The guy is legitimately one of the biggest studs and best people that we've like ever been around with in regards to a professional athlete. He's like not a real person. He's built from the same cloth as Tiger Woods. We've always said he's got that extra edge. He's got that fucking fire that you can't just like create. You have to be born with it. And the fact that we have multiple videos with this guy, and tonight in real time it's coming out tonight. In real time it's coming out tonight. These people have already seen this for 2 days, but we have a video with this guy. We're facing him in an athletic challenge on the golf course. Like, how are we not screaming this from the rooftops? Like, this is fucking insane. And it's coming out every Tuesday. We have DJ coming up in a few weeks. It's like, it's insane what this TaylorMade series has done to me, has done to you guys. It's just breaking my brain. I want it to be like breaking news every week, but then like I feel like I'm an asshole. Like, hey, by the way, we have the biggest video coming out of all time this week. It's every week.
You do get, I do feel like we've been desensitized to it, and when they do pop up, when eBug sends out these teasers and these social clips to our group text, I'm like, oh shit, I forgot that we did that. I forgot that that's coming out. I need to be focused. I need to drop everything I'm doing. I can't even hang out with my friends. I have to go tell the internet about this fucking video that we're doing with these stars, mega stars. I mean, when we got a golfer that was, Ollie Schneiderjans we got, in our first couple of weeks of doing the podcast. And me and Trent were fist bumping. We were like, fuck yeah, let's go. We're doing a video with Collin Morikawa. What? Where he's playing us, like Frankie said, in a legitimate physical golf competition on a golf course with a punishment that is laugh out loud funny and that brings out kind of a menacing side of one of the biggest names in the world of golf. It is like we should be shouting it from the internet rooftops at every second. This is what we set out to do. This is beyond what we ever could have imagined. But, we wanted to showcase these guys' personalities off of the golf course, or even if they still are on the golf course, outside of the ropes and the traditional confines of being inside the ropes of the PGA Tour. We want to showcase what they're like. We want to showcase that these guys for an hour, 30 minutes, whatever it is, can hang out with relatively normal human beings like us and actually showcase who they really are, what they're like, what they like to talk about, what kind of jabs they like to throw, how they handle kind of adversity outside of golf, but in other shit in life and in conversation and everything else. And here we are just rolling out another one with Collin Morikawa. It's fucking unbelievable when you really
He himself has been promoting this video, which has been a delight to see. He put on his Instagram story, said, I love these guys, which is one of the nicest things anyone has ever said about us or to us or about us. And then on Twitter, he called it must watch, which, I feel like I'm from an older school of the internet. I've been on the internet forever now in terms of having a job with the internet. Putting a must watch on something is a big deal. And I believe that Collin Morikawa knows that. It is a big deal. And it is a must watch video for a couple reasons. But the end of it is as must watch as you can get. So I'm very excited for people to see it. As they listen to this, they've already seen it, hopefully.
Yeah.
But if they haven't, go watch it because it's that good.
Yeah, it's so good. And we also lucked out with the ending because at one point it was going to be the dunk tank, which would have been great, would have been fun. But this ending was so much better because it brought out the competitive nature in Collin, a little bit of like psycho behavior, and then you two idiots bouncing around in like a golf cart, like pickup ball machine, stumbling around, and we all got to just like, basically like shank hood balls at you to try to knock you out. So it was an epic outcome, and thank God to TaylorMade for like honestly setting it up and helping to problem solve and figure out a good solution.
There was a part two when it was over, when Collin was just hooding balls at you two clowns in this golf cart, where, Lurch and I were just kind of standing there laughing, like school children just laughing at the scene in front of us. And Collin looked at us and was like, get over here, let's go. And so then me and Lurch got to we were like, us? Like the us two? You sure? And he's like, yep, get over here, get a club. And we were like, all right. So then he's like,
that was also the range that was like players
too.
Only. You know what I mean? That was like a players only range. That's where they were doing like Rory shots and then, DJ and Collin. So I was like, I don't know if we're like, this was ground that pretty much we were said like, you can't go to. So it threw us off when he was like, no, you guys can. Then it just trumps everybody else.
It was that we went over the boundary for a second, and you weren't the whole week. You go kind of do whatever we want, except you can't go over this boundary. This is only where the real people that are actually supposed to be here get to go, aka Rory McIlroy, Collin Morikawa, Dustin Johnson, and Matt Wolff. And now you guys are being motioned to go over there by Collin Morikawa himself. We're like, okay, and then it turned into just a wild scene. So awesome video, our YouTube page. Boy, is it just really cool that we get to do that stuff. So shout out to Collin being just an awesome dude, by the way. Is
dude. Desensitized only about cruelty or horrifying images? Like when you become desensitized to something, or can it be something good?
You can be desensitized to anything. I feel like you can be You can be desensitized even to food, right, and that kind of right, or desensitized to other senses. I would feel like.
Good, bad,
I guess I looked up
the
the official description in the dictionary. I looked up
definition.
I have the Elias's, my Elias's are really the description.
I like the description.
What did it say?
Looked up the official description in the dictionary. What do you call that?
Webster's. Anyway, it said something to do with that you're being desensitized to something of like horror or like cruelty.
Oh wow.
You know.
Yeah.
No, I think you can use it positively or negatively. I think if you used it in either scenario, people would totally understand what you're talking about.
Okay, I'm gonna tweet that. That's why I wanted to let you guys know.
That's good. Yeah, you can go ahead and tweet that. It's a good one. All right. A few topics to get to, and then I want to get to a bunch of from the galleries. First of all, just a little tidbit I saw came across my radar there. Scottie Scheffler lit up Southern Hills in a practice round. Cameron Chim, I believe, Chhim, the assistant pro there. Hope I'm not mispronouncing that. If I am, I apologize. I'm stupid.
Double H. Don't you
Double H.
That?
No, you don't see that all the time.
No, you don't.
Caddied for Scottie Scheffler
brother.
and Ryan Palmer. He played one ball the entire time, no practice putts, and made it look easy. He told Golf Oklahoma he's number one in the world, and it was pretty easy to see why. It would be hard to say that he's not going to win or at least be in contention. He hits it far enough, and he has just incredible distance control with his irons. Ryan Palmer shot 2 or 3 under and looked like he was standing still based on how Scottie was playing. So my question is, are we going to go into yet another major championship with the writing on the fucking wall in front of us and not all do what we said we were going to do last time and just take Scottie Scheffler to win the PGA Championship?
I'm betting
it's crazy.
I'm betting
it.
Yeah, I'm betting.
I don't care if it doesn't happen. I can't have it happen twice where we get all these reports or, at the Masters, he was coming off just an incredible run. And we were in your head, you're thinking, there's no way this guy can do it again. We love Scottie. We had him on the show. We were like, how great is it going to be for you to play in the Masters and have an opportunity to win it? But you're thinking, golf, it's rare for someone to go on a run like that in golf and then win the Masters on top of it. It almost never happens. So we didn't bet it, and we were fucking idiots for that. So idiots, dude. So hearing these reports, I'm going to bet Scottie Scheffler. And like I said, I don't even care if he doesn't win it, but I can't have him win and have me not bet it. That's what I can't have.
It's not supposed to be shocking when Scottie Scheffler wins a golf event right now. It's supposed to be like, yup. And if that feeling of yup happens, how are you not placing your hard-earned money on that guy to win the golf tournament? It's not like some fucking Joe Schmo fucking Zach Johnson comes out of fucking nowhere and wins the PGA Championship. You're like, all right, totally I never would have done that. I never would have done that. That's insane. I mean, I might as well just fucking light it on fire or bet on the Rangers.
Like 2 of them, so I mean, it's
and
not
then
a fluke when it's 2.
Now you've got Scottie Scheffler where it's like, well, obviously.
Yeah, there's too much good information out there right now to not bet on Scottie.
How often do you get a obviously bet in golf?
You don't,
Probably
and that's why
never.
we don't. I would argue that's why we didn't bet it before, because it's like there are no obviously's in golf.
Are there odds out on this right now?
But he's just as close as you can get right now. The guy's literally shocking people with the way he's playing the game.
Is he the favorite? No, he's probably not, right?
I'm looking right now.
I think he is, but I'm
okay.
So I'm gonna while Lurch pulls that up, I'm gonna rattle off Scottie Scheffler's most recent finishes on the PGA Tour playing professional golf, in case people were not familiar. Waste Management Phoenix Open, first place. Genesis Invitational, tied for 7th. Arnold Palmer Invitational, presented by MasterCard, first place. Players Championship, T55. World Golf Championship Match Play, first place. Masters Tournament, first place. Zurich Classic of New Orleans, which is a team event, tied for 18th. So he is still at that part where I believe he's won 4 of his last 6 starts in individual competitions. And now he's going into Southern Hills where the assistant pro, Double H guy, is saying, I don't see how he doesn't win or is in contention. I mean, we got to take this fucking guy. We got to take this guy.
All right, I agree. But if I were to ask you, which I am going to now, we're going to bet him, but do you think he's going to win?
Of course, I don't think he's going to win. It's a numbers game. I mean,
I see. I'm with you.
Yeah,
I'm totally with you.
50 other guys. Field. You can't win every week. I mean, you got to take the field.
So John Rahm is currently the favorite at plus 1,100,
but also not insane because he just won.
JT, Scheffler, and Rory are all plus 1,200. So pretty much kind of a tie for the top. So he's in the mix, but it is crazy that he's just not the number one guy. Like it's befuddling.
So I've got him on here. Oh, that's the AT&T Byron Nelson. He's a favorite of the AT&T Byron Nelson. Tell you that much. Okay. That's exciting. Right. Go Scotty, go.
Tournament?
Go Scotty, go. Yeah, I mean, look, this man is clearly playing great golf. It's nice to hear that he's still playing great golf. It's always cool when you get these assistant pros and all that. I wonder if Used Golf Facts is going to have an issue with these comments coming out. Feels like somebody could have pried information out of the assistant pro at Southern Hills to get some information going into the tournament, which obviously he or she that runs that account doesn't like. So we'll be curious to see if that account weighs in on that. Speaking of PGA.
Random name associated with that account. Patrick Reed is plus 6,500 to win this year's tournament.
Ooh, interesting. I'll say I don't love him as a PGA Championship guy because he sprays the ball, but his short game's sick. I like him more at obviously the Masters, maybe a British Open. I could see him even coming up. But we're talking PGA Championship. We're going to be there throughout the week. You should be there too, and you should use the Gametime app to get it. The fellas on this show have used the Gametime app, and if I believe I'm interpreting the way that it's gone correctly, I believe it's gone phenomenally.
It's the greatest app ever invented. And we've dealt with other ticketing apps before. Nothing is in comparison to how good Gametime is. It's been built for last-minute tickets. So right before the game's about to start, day of, morning of, there's no better feeling than waking up, knowing there's a baseball game in town, and being like, you know what? You guys want to go to the baseball game tonight? Go to the Yankees game? I just did this with Gametime recently. And it's just like the best feeling to be like, I have something awesome going on tonight. I've got a ball game, and I'm going to look on this app, and I'm going to find the best price in town, and it's guaranteed to be the lowest price on any other ticketing app. So you got to go do it. And what are we giving? $20 off your first purchase on an event?
Well, that's a really good question. I'm glad you asked, Frankie. If you download the Gametime app, go to the account tab to create a login and redeem code Fore, you do get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Download the Gametime app. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. In fact, our very own Jake Bass, Brendan Jones, I think Hannah Cook are going to be using the Gametime app to get tickets to the PGA Championship. There's a limited number of credentials, so we only have, I think, 3. So the folks that are part of our crew, our pod, are going to, that can't get credentials, are going to be using the Gametime app, obviously, because it's the best app ever created. So they've got last minute deals on tickets to sports, concerts, shows. They guarantee the lowest price. Use the code Fore, redeem code Fore, $20 off your first purchase. Download the Gametime app today. Rory, somebody mentioned Rory earlier and his odds going into the tournament. Just wanted to discuss. Rory has had several good finishes. He's notched top fives in consecutive starts. He was runner-up at last month's Masters. And then last week he made a run. He was only 2 shots off the lead, 2 shots behind Max Homa on Sunday at one point. So clearly Rory is playing some good golf. His quote was, "I'm playing good, playing really good." And he was very positive. I saw these comments very positive going into his prospects for the PGA Championship. I feel like we've said this since the inception of this show, which was in early 2017. But you got to think Rory is going to break through and win a big tournament, a major championship at some point fucking soon. I mean, it's a not. Are we talking a 8 or 9 year drought this man is on in major championships?
It'll be coming up on 8. Yeah, I guess 8 years coming up. Yeah, I'll bet him too. Sure. If Rory McIlroy says that, Lurch is shaking his head, which I disagree with. But if he's being like, I'm playing really good, I feel like I don't know if we hear him say it that often, like I'm playing really, really good. Then yeah, sure, I'll put a little on him. I was also thinking, looking at those quotes, this is kind of stupid, but how awesome would it be to be Rory McIlroy sometimes and you can just play golf like that? Like when you're Rory, like Rory's a person. He's a person like you, like we are. And sometimes he's got to just think like, it's fucking awesome to be this good. And I know there's guys out there who have been better than Rory at times, but I think being Rory sometimes when you're just like, I'm fucking Rory and I'm good at golf. He's just out there on a golf course. hitting greens, playing well. There's got to be times where it's like, it's pretty fucking awesome.
Dude, the coolest thing in golf, the
You know what
coolest
I
thing.
mean?
Yeah,
Yes.
the swing alone. Even if you shanked it, if you could make your body move like that, where you like step on a tee, you're like, oh, that guy can swing it pretty well. Kind of like Frankie, actually. But then he has the outcomes too. It's got to be off the charts.
Thanks.
What? Excuse me?
Jesus.
Frankie's got a beautiful looking swing. He just stinks.
Not like
Rory's
Rory
No,
McIlroy.
appreciate that.
What?
Thanks, Large.
What?
No problem. I mean, your
Thank you
swing
very
is
much.
Guy
beautiful.
spent the whole beginning of the show saying jerks off to your misery, and you hit him with your swing looks like Rory McIlroy. What are we
Thank you.
doing here?
Appreciate that.
No, I'm fine with that. I don't need to, shit on people all the time. I think he's got a good swing. Frankie's got a different mindset than I.
He's got a beautiful looking swing, but
great.
there's a limitation to the
Yeah.
how beautiful looking it
This
is.
is awesome.
No, I guess, yeah. I mean, if you were going to put like a negative spin on it, it's got to suck to be Frankie.
It's
too,
an honest
because
spin. It's an honest spin on it.
He's got a beautiful swing and he can't hit the golf ball. So, like, that sucks
right.
too. He's kind of trapped inside his
guess-
own body.
That actually made me think about something the other way with Rory, where it's got to be incredibly frustrating sometimes to beat him.
infuriating. It has to be infuriating. He's
Like
so
I would argue those moments are far more frequent than the times when he's like, man, it's pretty awesome to be Rory right now and how good I am at golf. Seeing those flashes makes the bad golf gotta just drive you up a wall.
Trent, every Thursday morning when I log on to Twitter and I scroll through Thursday morning of a PGA Tour event that Rory's playing, I feel like I see 5 tweets where it's like Rory with another drive, 337 down the middle, and then miss the green with a wedge or like a 9-iron. That's got to be infuriating, guy. I mean, when you can hit the ball the way you can hit it and have a swing that is that beautiful, that is 10 billion times more beautiful than anybody's swing on this show, it has to suck to not win every single golf tournament he plays in.
Yeah. That's the flip side, I suppose. That's the gift and the curse, as they say.
I've always thought, though, just how much fun would it be, like when they put on those little clinics and they got a microphone on, or when they're in a practice round, like when they just swing a golf club, they just know it's gonna be perfect. Like that, right? Like when we're swinging, like there's a chance it's just a cold shank. Or today I hit 4 inches behind the ball for the first 6 of them, or I blade the first 2.5, or so you're trying to get through it. Whatever. Every time he swings, it's just gonna be beautiful, and he's pretty much gonna flush the golf ball every time.
Dude, even when we went down and saw Kisner put on that clinic, where were we at? Oh, it's Sage Valley. And they're just talking through it. Him and Dewey are up there, and everything that happens is what they say is going to happen for the most part. It's unbelievable. And I think maybe we don't talk about it enough, or maybe we do on this show, but you got to think about how hard golf is for the people who play it. And then these guys are so consistent like that. It's fucking unbelievable.
Yeah, it is.
What's the word I'm looking for? Like, if you have a lot of spin on a ball and the wind would not double it, but like, right? Like let's say you hit like a spin, would exaggerate it
Or
escalate it,
amplify it.
amplify it. That's the word I was looking for all day today. Played in the wind, got sunburnt like you wouldn't believe, and then
Might be
every time someone would hit like a little like flared out like a fade or like a slice, I'd be like, man, that wind is really escalating that thing, but it's definitely amplified.
Yeah.
It sucks when you're right around the right word, but you can't come up with it. Which will
So Rory, when he plays poorly, it amplifies that feeling of like misery and being upset because he knows how good he could be, as opposed to like if you're just some Joe Schmo like Zach Johnson, you lose. You're just like, yeah, it's just the feeling I have. It's what my mother told me. I'd never be anything. So yeah,
No, that's not how. That's not how.
Is that not how his story worked?
No, that's not how Iowa mothers are. At least not. And I got a small sample size, but it's not what happened to me.
Big baby.
Big baby.
Huge on the front page of the paper.
Arguably the biggest.
We talked about that. It's funny when Barstool is, or just our people knowing us has gotten bigger. It feels like in the last 5 years or whatever. And I've been talking about I'm not even talking about us. I'm talking about the whole company. But like some people know things, some people don't. And when I was recently did a couple Chicks in the Office live show stops, and we talked about me being a big baby, and I'm pretty sure no one in the audience knew it. And that reaction, when you have it like a live reaction like that to me saying I was a huge 14-pound baby and they put me on the front of the paper, was something that I hadn't experienced in maybe ever, but certainly a long time. People just, they find out that you're a fat baby and it, you know, it changes the vibe in the room.
14 pounds.
14 of them.
That's fat.
It's a lot.
I think I was 9.
I didn't decide.
That's like, I know, but
Close
baby.
to like dying fat. Is that like are babies allowed to be that fat?
true. How much bigger can you get before it's like, this isn't going well?
I mean, well, I will say I get articles sent to me all the time of huge babies that were larger than I, but I think you can go pretty high. 14, I don't think I was at any sort of risk.
14, dude, is huge.
That's really big. Rory, in an exciting tidbit of news, is set to play. So he's obviously going to play the PGA. He's take a week off, and he's playing 4 tournaments in a row. He'll play the Memorial, the RBC Canadian Open, where he will be the defending champion because they have not put that tournament on since 2019, pre-pandemic. The U.S. Open and the Travelers Championship. Very excited for our RBC Canadian Open. I'll say that we have actually a lot of Canadian fans. Number one, they love to let us know that it's really hard to get our merchandise up there because of shipping internationally. So I know there's a lot of them. Number two, they always tell us to come to that event because that's like their crown jewel, obviously for golf, the Canadian Open, all that. And I saw that Rory will be the defending champ there because it hasn't been 2019. So I want to make sure, put this in our tickler file, even if we can't go, which we probably can't, I want to make sure that we amplify that event this year. I want to
Done.
Fucking tweet that shit. We'll be all over because I love our Canadian fans. So I want to make sure that we amplify that thing.
I love Canadians. Canadians are, their sport is hockey. We love hockey. And I just have loved Canadians. I don't love the ones in Ontario or in Toronto specifically, but most of the good old Canadians, I love their good nature. I like how polite they are and how nice they are, and their hair. I like Canadians' hair.
Mm-hmm.
I like syrup. I like all that stuff.
Poutine.
Poutine. I like Tim Hortons. I want to go up to Canada. I want to go to an RBC Heritage. I want to go to the Canadian Open one day for sure. I want to go root on Corey Connors. That would be fun to go root for the Canadian boy up there.
My favorite golf course I ever played is in Canada, Cabot Cliffs.
There you go.
And the most beautiful place I've ever seen in my life is in Canada.
What's that?
Lake Louise, which is right in the Banff area. They did a Bachelor episode there actually back in the day.
Oh, really?
Most beautiful spot I've ever stood in my life, Lake Louise. They've actually done, occasionally they some of those hockey accounts will tweet out a video of somebody skating on like a sheet of glass lake with mountains and trees in the background. They've done a bunch of those from Lake Louise. It's just off the charts how stunning it is.
Let's all share the most beautiful place we've ever seen that we've been to. I'll go first. I'll give you guys a couple of minutes to think about it. If Frankie, you just went gray, bro. When I brought that up, people on YouTube will be able to see it. You reacted. You were trying to think really hard, and you went gray like you had just been wasted in Grand Theft Auto. But I'll go first. I'll give you guys some time.
Camera sucks.
The most beautiful place that I've ever seen was on the north shore of Oahu in Hawaii. When I went there, I mean, you guys can have good ones too, but that's mine. And it's me and my buddies after high school, we went there because one of my buddies' families is from Hawaii. So we went and visited them, and we stayed on the beach on the north shore of Oahu in a little place called Haleiwa. And I
stayed in that same area.
Really?
And I agree. North Shore of Oahu. I was there in January, February, so the waves were ripping. And it is some of the most beautiful coastline in the world. When you look left, and it's like you're in Jurassic Park. I mean,
yes.
it's insane.
They filmed parts of Lost out there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Dude.
Is that right?
We had the same guy.
You and I had a very similar experience, clearly. But it really is like you go there, and everybody talks about how beautiful Hawaii is. That's not a secret. But there are certain parts, the parts that I guess that we went to, where you can't believe what you're looking at. And that was, I have not found, we've been to a lot of great places thanks to this podcast and our job and whatever. But there's something about that slice of land, that slice of the planet that is unmatched to me. It's a
What's it called?
Place.
Trip?
It's the North Shore of Oahu, but the place that I stayed in was called Haleiwa. Hal. I'm gonna mess.
How cool do you feel that you know all those words and names of the places?
Did you do that little hike up the trail? Like there's this small little hike in
really
Haleiwa that you get a whole visual of the coastline. It probably takes 20 minutes.
We didn't do that, but I did jump off a huge rock.
Ooh, daredevil.
You survived.
Like, yeah, barely. Like the one I did when I was in Georgia with JT, but like 4 or 5 times taller.
Whoa.
4 or 5 times bigger.
Dude, it was big. I was scared.
It's beautiful out there though. Like we had one day that was like misting over the mountains. And so you had this like low fog and it literally felt like we were in Jurassic Park. It was epic.
That's where I went spearfishing.
No way.
Yeah. I'm not very good at it, but
it's hard.
It's hard. You're underwater and you put the elastic band around your arm and you let it go and it pew. I was horrible at it. But that's my answer.
All right. I do have breaking news, but I don't want to interrupt this segment.
How big breaking news are we talking?
Really super big.
Do we want to get to Frankie and Lurch's favorite places in the world, or do we want to talk about the breaking news?
You don't want to know Riggs's?
I thought he said his.
I began the whole thing. Lake Louise.
Oh, that's right.
I'll just rattle mine off real quick. I have 3 of them, so I'm not going to play your dumb game. I'm just going to give you one.
Right,
one of them. Well, I just can't choose between 3.
All right, so say 3 of them, and then we're going to cut out. I'm going to have Jake cut out.
Well, one of them is Horseshoe Bend. It's one of the things to see when you go to the Grand Canyon. It's fucking just the most ridiculous.
Yep.
You see the river going around this bend, and you get to go right off the edge. And actually, my tour guide held, which I hope he's still not in business, he held my hoodie and let me lean over.
No.
And if he just lets go,
that's terrifying. I mean, come on. What
that can't be in the employee handbook. That's got to be the thing you can't do in the employee handbook.
Bro, people out there were like on ledges playing guitars. It was fucking neurotic what people were doing. And then on the other, psychotic. So the other side of that's the desert. The top of the Rocky Mountains. I was at the top of Keystone Mountain, I believe it was. And just looking at it like you're on top of the world. And I'd never once felt like I literally was in the heavens. Looking out, you see the tips of basically a Coors Light can. You're at the top of it. And you're just like, no way are my eyes real right now. Like, you're just taking pictures the whole fucking time. Like, no fucking way, dude. So, yeah, those 2. And then probably Pebble Beach. Walking up the 5th fairway and 6th fairway. Just nuts.
Yeah, I thought
How can
about
it be
that
better?
one.
How can it be better than standing on the 6th green at Pebble Beach and looking around? You know what I mean?
It's fair.
The highest part of the golf course, just looking around, just being like, what is this spot?
It's almost the whole thing, that whole conversation almost reminds me of like when people to ask you to compare a certain level of a golf course where it's like, it's awesome. It's awesome. Yeah. I don't.
So much.
It's just reached a tier that's just really super awesome, and I don't know how else to decipher between them.
Right. There's a couple locations like when we were in Tasmania. Ooh, and I think you walk up to that par 3 tee box.
Yeah, like the 4th hole or something on Lost Farm, I think.
It's like the most beautiful thing in the world. And how do you compare that to Pebble to like,
right.
And the 4 of us schmucks have been all over the globe playing the most elite golf courses in the world. Sure. And the visuals that you get, because I was thinking the 9th hole at Cruden Bay, which I hope all of us get to. I think it's the number 1 tee box in all of Scotland. It's absolutely incredible, the visuals you get. You take like a 5-minute walk and then you're at the top of it.
Just to duck hook one into whatever.
Yeah, just to lose a golf ball.
That's the sick, psychotic part about golf is like, it's the most beautiful place ever. You're like, look at this, let's take a photo. And then you just go up and like unathletically shit your pants and just like embarrass yourself and curse yourself. It's like the most beautiful thing and then also just the most train wreck, disgusting shit of all time.
I would argue that knocks it down a few points in my eyes. Like when we're talking about most beautiful place in the world, like you talked about Pebble and you are right, and my first one was Hawaii. Probably the reason it didn't jump right to Pebble was because you just put one in the water 4 times.
But golf courses have the best real estate on the planet. You like can't get that type of grass going right up to the cliff anywhere else. Like if you do that as a regular citizen, you're like risking your life. You know what I mean? Like if you ever walk to the edge of a cliff like you do on Pebble Beach, hole number 6, in just like your jeans and a hoodie, like, and you're just like wandering around Earth and you're that high over a cliff, like someone's like, what's that guy doing over there? But for some reason in golf, you're supposed to like take an athletic swing there and like hit golf balls at 120 miles an hour. So like at the end of the day, it's crazy the places you get to rest your feet on this earth on golf courses. It's like you get to go to the edge. It's crazy.
I thought you were going to have a finishing comment on the edge, but
I got pretty big. It's pretty big news.
Let's go to the news because
I will hold on. I like this.
Tunk Lake, Maine is my number 1. Okay. So it's just a fantastic lake in the middle of nowhere.
How big is this news?
I really like this moment in time right now. Sorry, Lucia, I didn't mean to step on.
No, you're okay.
Maine.
Yeah, we're living in a moment where we don't know the news.
And the information's out there. And actually the world knows it.
Why am I turning gray?
I get a moment like this is so far and few between for me because, I mean, and for you guys, because we're on Twitter. And as soon as something happens, I just know. And I've known ever since I've been on Twitter. So these last 5 to 10 minutes have actually been kind of nice because in the back of my head, I'm thinking something's happened in the world that I just don't know about. And that's a little bit exciting to me.
So Eamon Lynch tweeted out, and we're going to talk about...
Eamon Lynch is dead. Like, oh, no!
No, that would be devastating. I wouldn't have teased it like that. That wouldn't have been... We like Eamon Lynch. That would have been... Although it would have been fucking hilarious if I would have been like, yeah... Eamon's dead.
He would have loved that.
I know. He's kind of
you know what? Promise to Eamon Lynch that when he dies, we'll release it just like that. And I think he'll respect that.
We'll do the same exact format. Just
exactly.
Hey, you guys want this news? You want to talk about your favorite, fucking color on the rainbow? All right. Eamon Lynch tweets out, the PGA Tour denies players permission to play in the Saudi-funded event next month. And then the article goes on to say, PGA Tour has denied its members permission to play. The denials were sent to players who had sought permission late Tuesday afternoon. It had been expected that the PGA Tour would grant waivers for the LIV Golf Invitational event near London because of a precedent allowing players limited releases for overseas events. All members are required to seek a conflicting event release to compete in non-tour events. This is from Eamon Lynch's piece on Golf Week. However, it is thought the decision is based on a belief that the event in the UK is effectively part of a rival series. LIV Golf, which is funded by the Saudi Arabian regime, has announced a schedule of 8 tournaments. So they have denied, and there were, I believe the numbers that Greg Norman has thrown out is 19 of the top 100 in the world. I think 30-something of the top 150 ranked players in the world had enlisted to try to play in this event. All of them that are members of the PGA Tour are denied and are not allowed to. So things are coming to a head significantly quicker than maybe we would have thought.
Yeah, that's what we call a line in the sand. That is that you just, now we know. Because we didn't really know. We kind of knew what was maybe going to happen, but I guess if you had asked us, 15 minutes ago before we got the breaking news, was the PGA Tour going to grant these waivers? I think I might have said yes. I think I probably would have said yes.
Me too.
So for them to be saying, no, you guys can't go play there, that's very interesting and a little bit surprising. So I don't know where do those players go now? Like, what are they going to decide to do? And what does now the LIV Golf League do? Because now their legs are almost completely cut out from under them in terms of PGA Tour play.
And what are the repercussions if they play in the LIV?
I think they forfeit their membership.
Give away their card.
Yeah.
Now, you got to think that this was in the back of every guy's mind when their name was associated with LIV, right? The odds were probably 50-50 chance that they were going to allow it or not allow it. So it's not like it's going to come to any shock to a guy like Sergio Garcia. The PGA Tour is not allowing him to withhold his status as a PGA Tour member when he literally berated a fucking rules official saying, I cannot wait to never see you again and be off this tour and never have to deal with this bullshit ever again. You think he's going to be like, oh, I don't get to play in the Wells Fargo next year. It's like, no, I mean, he literally told the guy to like kiss his fucking dick and I'll see you later.
I think he is going to react like that. I think
really?
like that was, well, yeah, just because I don't think that was like a rational reaction. I think he was just like, I can't wait to leave this tour, blah, blah, blah. And I think he's going to be rattled that the tour's like,
wow.
Yeah, if you go play in that event, like, see you later. Because he's only going to play in 8. So he's only going to play in potentially 8 events now all year long and not have access to any PGA Tour events. I think he'd be rattled about that.
Yeah, I mean, we've been talking about this for so many months, like with that idea. Like they're just going to play in this 8 event thing, make a ton of money, much more than they'd ever make on the PGA Tour, and then probably be able to play in the majors because they're like individual entities, right? As opposed to from the PGA Tour. Like you could maybe still play in the US Open, you could still play in the Masters, still play in the British Open. Like I think this was this is not shocking news to me. That's all I'm saying. That's my opinion.
I think it's definitely, it's not like it was not an option, but I think that, the tour was, it was rumored that the tour was going to ban players basically from the PGA Tour if they play. Jay Monahan was asked directly in his Players Championship interviews, like, are you going to ban players? And he never said yes. He was very much kind of beat around the bushy on like, we'll evaluate and we'll do this and we'll do that. And Greg Norman has phrased everything as, no, we're not a rival. Like we're a supplement to other, to all these golfers' options, and we're doing the events when there's, and so I don't think that it's, I wouldn't say it's like shocking. Oh my God, I can't believe it. I would say it's huge news in that this is now going to lead to a very clear, I think dominoes are going to fall of who's going and who's not very, very quickly now because the tour has drawn the line in the sand, like Trent said.
Does it lead to, and this is, I'm way out of my depth here, but can it lead to lawsuits? Like can LIV sue the PGA Tour and say, it's essentially like, I don't know if it's a monopoly, but it feels a little bit like a monopoly if you're saying that we are the only game in town. I don't know how that works when it comes to sports leagues. I know how I have a better idea when it comes to business, but I don't know what it means when it comes to sports leagues.
Well, they still have the opportunity to like play in others. And it's like a monopoly, I would say, is, if there was not allowing anybody else to host a golf tournament. I mean, you can just choose to play in a different league, but it's like they're mutually exclusive. So I don't feel like it'd fall under monopoly, but I'm not a lawyer, so that could be just way off base. But
I think the lawsuits are definitely going to happen. I just don't know if they're going to be successful.
Yeah, I would say it'd be more like player to tour level if they signed up for anything and like didn't know the like repercussions from that, and they withhold them for too long or something like that. I would say would be more interesting. I think that, yeah, I mean, this is like a play of the PGA Tour to be like, we don't want competition would maybe be the lawsuit, which is like all players versus the PGA Tour. I think would be kind of interesting of just being like, dude, you can't hold us like hostage here. This is like this up until this point. This was like basically come as you will PGA Tour. We didn't have to play in all the events and we could do other things on the weekend. We could do media things, and all of a sudden you're saying because we're playing elsewhere, like they could play on the European Tour before. So I think the fallout will be interesting, and there's much smarter brains than I that will come up with like, billions of dollars of lawsuits.
They could certainly argue that it sets a precedent that they don't want. Like the players could say, yeah, maybe we don't want to play in the Saudi league. That's not the example we want to use, but we don't want you guys. Like it can be looked at as a power grab from the PGA Tour and having control over what the players can and can't do and where they cannot play. And that's something that I would imagine players on the tour might be interested in. It's not about playing in the Saudi league. It's about, we don't want you guys to set the precedent.
That's
that
right.
You guys
precedent.
have the power
Say that as many times as possible. That's the word that will, I think you're spot on with that. Of like that point that you're making, I think is 100% accurate of like letting the dominoes fall, if you will. And this is the one that knocks one down, and then lawsuits just go crazy.
Yeah, and to be clear, I mean, when players play us in a 4-man scramble, there is an exemption form that needs to be signed and from the tour to allow that to happen. When, Phil and Tiger play in the match, they have to get an exemption from the PGA Tour to play, in a broadcast, not on the PGA Tour, rah, rah, rah. When they, the players went and played in the Saudi Invitational, they had to get an exemption, and the PGA Tour put stipulations on it where they had to play, in the AT&T Pebble Beach thing next year, whatever those stipulations were. But, this stipulation of just denied, is a precedent that the tour made their stance extremely clear. I think there will obviously be lawsuits. I think there's now going to be, it's big news in the sense that it's going to trigger a lot of things that are going to happen, that are just in the golf ecosystem going to be fascinating for the next several months. And who knows who's going to go where? Who knows how rattled certain people are going to get? This is going to naturally pit people that aren't typically publicly against one another, right? Like you're probably going to have, just like when Bryson became so controversial, all of a sudden you had like Matthew Fitzpatrick firing shots at Bryson DeChambeau. It's now going to be like Sergio's going to make a comment about, the LIV Golf Tour, about the PGA. Somebody else is going to be in a press conference presented with those comments, be like, what do you think? And then that person's going to fire shots at Sergio Garcia. And it's going to be like, oh, fuck, we got action, boys and girls. We got action.
What's going on Greg Norman's phone right now?
Oof. Messages. Just an amazing amount of messages.
Or did he just take it and just throw it into a body of water? And he is now, no one knows where Greg Norman is. Or someone took his phone from him and no one knows where Greg Norman is.
I mean, how much of a fuck you from Monahan to Norman is this decision? Like a personal, you're not going to bully me around. Like, I bet you got to think in some... I said there was probably a 50-50 chance that this was going to happen the whole time, but you got to think in some negotiations or conversations, Norman's like, he'll never fucking do that. And like probably to like Monahan from Norman, he's like, you're never going to fucking not grant us the access. And then bang, he just does it right there. Just a big FU to Greg Norman. I wonder how much of that is personal. It's really like who has the bigger dick leading these fucking leagues right now. Who's gonna give in? Who's not gonna give in? Who's gonna steal the other players? It's like a fucking game of chess.
I think it's just like a brand protection. I don't know. I mean, it'd be interesting if something came out that was like they had got beef, but I think it's just protecting the PGA Tour shield through and through, and that's his number one job. But I mean, to Trent's point, I mean, there could just be like Saudi WebEx must join right now, and that's just like that's what Norman's on for the rest of the night.
Yeah, it's like to Frankie's point, I'm sure they were prepared for this. I'm sure they had legal steps set up that they're now going to pursue, and it'll be interesting to see how it shakes down.
What a court case that will be. It should go to the Supreme Court. The players versus the PGA Tour. Be right after Roe v. Wade. All those discussions. It'll just be like, how can we get these golfers, in the right money making machine so that they can get the ball in the hole. It's fucking wild times.
Where can we allow them to make the most millions of dollars?
It's a fucking wild world right now. These fucking golfers are finding themselves in.
Well, speaking of these golfers, we were talking about two guys already, Rory McIlroy and Scottie Scheffler, who are TaylorMade athletes. I got this right here. This might be targeted at one person on the show. It says, if your putting game is unstable, grab yourself a Spider GT putter and inject a dose of stability into your game. This super forgiving putter is made to give you consistent rolls time after time. Spider GT from TaylorMade in stores now.
I'll take one of those.
Time.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I mean, I'm not a great putter either. I mean, come on. I mean, I'll have flashes.
Their putters are amazing, though.
Their putters are
amazing. Sorry, you have flashes of brilliance from. You have that like Spieth, like 20 feet or greater.
Yeah,
all of a sudden,
That's
you
right.
just get hot from that.
That's right. Frankie's got a Rory swing, and I putt like Spieth. This is a fun episode. I like it. But you're right. In a weird way, less consistent. But there are times when I can just roll. I sometimes feel far more comfortable when I'm far away from the hole than I am close to it when I'm on a green or off the green.
Montreal Canadiens got the number 1 overall pick, and they're in Montreal for the draft this year. Fucking Devils jumped from 1, 2, 3, 4, from the 5th pick to the 2nd pick with that fucking lottery. How did the Devils get another 2 pick?
Where are the Islanders at?
13, where they were slated. Rangers bumped. When the Rangers got was it Lafreniere or Kakko when they jumped like $1 billion?
I think it was Kakko. I think it was him. Yeah,
They went
jumped
from
a
like
billion
9
points
to
up.
1.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
great.
yeah.
I was just like, God hates me. It's just insane.
God hates me.
Remember watching that, being like, no chance. I think it was Laugh. I think it was for Laugh or Net.
Was it?
Because I don't think they were ever the worst team in the league.
Anyways,
Whatever.
the Spider GT from TaylorMade is it's excellent, and I will say my putting with the Spider X that I've been rocking for a long time, it just feels like you can't miss the technology on the thing. There's not even really a sweet spot. The whole thing is a sweet spot. The entire face of the putter from the toe to the heel is just a sweet spot. And when we went there into the putting lab at the Kingdom, and they walked us through the difference between miss hits on putts when you hit it from 8, 12, 25 feet. If you hit it a little bit on the heel, a little bit on the toe with a traditional putter, a non-Spider putter, you just lose so much. You lose distance, you lose accuracy, and that's going to lead to more 3.5, 6 foot leaves, whatever. Whereas when the sweet spot is basically the entire face of the club, you just get that pure roll even if you don't hit it directly on the center, and that's going to give you way more chances for that ball to go into the hole or finish right next to the hole, so you don't have to worry about 3 jacking. So TaylorMade.com, go check out the putters. You can customize putters on there, which we've all done, which are awesome, the Spider GTs. So that's TaylorMade.com. Go check them out. Great tools they got there. Yeah, the dominoes are about to fall. Fireworks are going to happen. I imagine we're going to get more statements. We're going to do all kinds of stuff. We're going to see players, I'm sure, make statements. It's going to be, I imagine, a little bit like the opposite of when we had everybody pledging their allegiance to the tour. Now we might get some people like, pledging their defecting, that they are defecting from the PGA Tour, which will be fun.
Do we think anyone will do that? And if we do, what's the over-under on the number of guys that do that?
Oh, yeah, I think guys are going to do that. I don't know who. I don't know how many. I wonder, here's my question. What are we going to do? How do we handle it if one of our guys does that?
Yeah, I think. All right, boys, hit them hard.
I don't know. That's a scenario I had not thought about.
I do think Trent's point, though, about the precedent and, like, doing the European Tour and, like, I would say the details of the PGA Tour's stance on why the Saudi League is a no-go, I'm very interested in to read a little bit more about. Of, like, what is the particular reason that this tour is a no-fly zone? I think will be pretty interesting because I don't think they'll just hold against it. I think there will be some, like, foundation that they follow.
I wonder if there's something that says, like, don't they put clauses in some, like, professional athletes' contracts where it's like, this, he was suspended because of actions detrimental to the team. Like, I would imagine maybe that they're saying if you go over and play in this LIV tour, then that's an action that's detrimental to the PGA Tour, and, like, sort of that's how it goes. That would be the only thing that I could think of.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense, actually. Something like that, Now the four.
Am I a lawyer? I kind of feel like I'm a lawyer this episode.
You've been the most lawyery guy on the show so far.
I use the word precedent. I used it a bunch of times, and I just use actions detrimental to the team. So it's like, where's the bar exam? Which states can I be a lawyer in? It's what it feels like a little.
Yeah, bit. Ryan, we're gonna sign up for. You're our guy.
Feels good. I feel like I'm on a little bit too much of a hot streak that the next sort of lawyer question that comes up, I'm going to completely fumble.
You're just a huge baby lawyer.
Big baby. Huge.
Big baby. Huge baby. So anyways, big news, breaking news. We'll see how everything unfolds. I want to talk a little bit and, from the gallery. We can get into from the gallery coming up in a second. But first I want to talk about Tom Brady's contract. So Tom Brady, what a wild couple months, but Tom Brady obviously announced he's going to retire, announced he's going to unretire, and then it was announced today that he has inked a $375 million 10-year deal with Fox to be an analyst for their football coverage, for the NFL coverage. Tom Brady has, never been an analyst ever. He's never been a broadcaster ever, and he's going to make more than anyone else in broadcasting, which is fucking amazing. And I know Kirk Minahan, who I listen to their show all the time. He brings this point up all the time on football. Like, I don't know does who's broadcasting or analyzing the game matter for like anybody really? I mean, I get that you prefer certain people and you might chatter about how you like it, but like, are you gonna be like, all right, Tom Brady's on the call, so I'm gonna turn that game on? Like, are people gonna do that?
There must be something there because Tony Romo did it and they paid him a fortune. I mean, like, no, for me, like, I'm just going to watch the Giants game. Trent's going to watch the Iowa game. So, like, but they've got to see a massive ratings bump to effectively pay these people.
There's no way that they do. I can't imagine that they do.
Like, the only situation I can think of where this is true, and there might be more examples out there, but the TNT NBA crew, the Charles Barkley, Kenny the Jet, Shaq, and Ernie. Like, that feels like one of the only crews in all of sports where people are like, all right, that's the show that I have to watch because those guys are so great. Tom Brady, like you said, Riggs, not only is he unproven as an analyst or anything like that, but we just don't know what we're going to get with him overall. It seems insane on the face of it.
It's a lot of money, and yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like you know, people are going to tune in for Tom Brady. You just are. I mean, he's Tom fucking Brady. Just like if Michael Jordan was on some sort of post game coverage or calling a basketball game, you're just gonna like.
But do you tune into like the hockey post game?
That's what I was
going
to ask.
Gretzky's on there.
Yeah, I actually do. I love the TNT crew. I love Biz, our coworker on there. I think they're all amazing. I think that whole entire crew is just really funny. I watch all the intermission stuff. I watch the post-game stuff. I think the way they mic up the players, like they do stuff that's just different than all the other broadcasts. Like Brady might have different interactions with players because he's the greatest quarterback of all time. Maybe he like does things differently. I mean, it's interesting. We'll see how different it's going to be. He seems to be a guy that likes to like change the way people perceive athletes. I mean, he does the match. He's like, He's all over the place. I mean, he did Man in the Arena. He did the whole Tom Brady documentary himself. Like, maybe he's going to do different shit. Like, Biz went to TNT and did different shit, and now I watch it. Like, and that's worth whatever contract they gave Biz because now I literally turn on that game on Wednesday nights and whenever they're playing. So, yeah. No, I'm definitely a fan of the move. It's just a ton of money, which if they have it, who cares? I don't know.
I love those guys too, the TNT crew, both, and for both sports that we've mentioned are excellent. But I guess, and Frankie, if a lot of people are doing that, then it's clearly definitely worth it. It would be very difficult for someone to convince me that, and I get maybe the first 6 games of the season, or when Tom Brady first starts, people will tune in because like, oh shit, I got to see this Tom Brady. But for 10 years, by year 2, I just can't imagine there are people that are like, you know what, I wasn't gonna watch the NFL today, but Tom Brady's calling that game at 4:30. I gotta watch that thing. Like, I just can't. I find that so hard to think that is worth a $375 million difference.
So much money, and I just wonder how much of the money is just to have him be a part of your channel. Yeah. Where like, it's not actually worth dollars from week to week. It's just like that's what he's worth to just have a part of your team for 10 years. Like,
I would really, I would be interested to know like who are they bidding against? Who was at 365? And they were just like, I just can't quite do it. And they're like, well, we're going 375. Like
because there was a bid. You don't just come up with 375.
There had to be. So I would be very curious to know where the second highest number is because 375 for a guy like, when is this even going to start? We don't know. Tom Brady is still playing. He could play for another 5 years.
Or do you think they sat there and gave him a blank check? They're like, Tom, whenever you're ready, you just write the number on there and you're going to come work for us. And he literally wrote, you know what it's going to take? It's going to take $375 million for me to come. And they're like, whoa. I did not think he was going to write that, but something we have to cash the check. He has it in his hands now. He's got the whole routing and account number. It's got to happen.
It's a fascinating thing because I've just never seen anything like it. I've never seen a network drop so much money on an unproven talent like that and something that's not going to kick in for a couple of years or whenever Brady decides to retire officially. So it's very strange.
You know what's really strange? And I mean, they have all the numbers that we don't, but like, I guess I'm seeing what you guys are saying. For the TNT with the hockey guys, that was a brand new acquisition. TNT, ESPN, they bought all the rights from NBC and NBC Sports, and like all those games were on like USA Network and all these different channels. And like now they went out, spent a bunch of money on Wayne Gretzky, and they got Biz and Tocchet and all these guys, and they and McHugh, and like now we have a home to watch primetime nighttime hockey, right? Like now we know TNT is the spot to go. It was never like that before. You had to go on TSN or whatever. With football, it's like Sunday nights and Monday nights are just, those are the games you watch. And it's like, regardless, I guess, of who's announcing them. Like, I'm kind of doing the classic me thing where I'm arguing against myself.
You're thinking it through.
Regardless of who's announcing them, you're going to watch.
You can put Adam Schefter in that seat, and I don't think it changes the ratings. Like,
they could pay us $45 to sit there, and the ratings would be pretty similar.
I don't know, man. They have to keep making the NFL grow, right? Like, there's got to be reasons for why it keeps growing, and like this has to be why. They're staying relevant. Their announcers are the best players of all time. Tony Romo was like a great quarterback for the fucking for the Cowboys and one of the most famous teams ever. Now he's an analyst. Like, there's got to be reasons why they do this stuff. It's just it's king. Football is king, and they have the formula. They are right and we're wrong.
What is the contract again? 37.
10 years. $375 million.
And who's this with again? Fox?
Okay.
Yeah.
Fox.
Yeah, because Romo's I thought was huge. It's 10 years, $175 million. It like makes it look like peanuts, dude.
But
That's
Brady's
crazy.
that much better
Totally.
than Tony Romo in
Is
all
he,
aspects
though?
of life. He's doubly
We
better
don't know.
than Tony Romo.
He's never done the...
Tom Brady is just doubly better than Tony Romo.
You're talking about on the field.
Yeah.
We're talking
I'm
about
talking about him as a person is just doubly better.
Everybody knew. No. Everybody knew Tony Romo was going to be a great announcer because I think at some point he had done a little bit when the Cowboys got eliminated or something. Like, everybody knew that he was going to be great somehow, and he is great. I know he's polarizing now, and that's what happens. But he is actually pretty good at that job. Tom Brady, we have no idea.
None. He could be awful. He could be 2 games in, and they're like, he doesn't talk. He doesn't say anything. He's just quiet. Like, you have no idea. No clue. Like,
it's just a different aura. Like, Gretzky doesn't talk that much on TNT, and every time he speaks, you're like, that was fucking awesome. Wayne Gretzky talked about
the Rangers' goal in Game 1 should have counted.
He did say that. When he also said that he couldn't make the end.
Right over.
He also said Wayne Gretzky himself is the reason why I got into such a damn argument with people 5 years ago when I said he couldn't make an NHL roster nowadays. He's the one that said that also. So, and everyone said, "Oh, he's just being humble. He's stupid. He doesn't really say his words right."
Is Gretzky getting paid the hockey equivalent of $37 million a year?
Gretzky's getting paid like $500,000, I bet.
No, he's making some cash. Gretzky's definitely
he's doing well, but he's not making a fraction of that time.
No, and he's not. But also, NHL pays its best players $8 million.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean when I say the hockey equivalent.
So, like when Gretzky gets like
a year.
$3 million a year for a show that never existed before, when the best player in the league, Sidney Crosby, makes $8.7 million. So it's like. Come on.
Is football 10 times bigger than hockey?
I'd have to argue like that's about right? I mean, I don't
know.
I'm surprised he's making $3 million a year. I think that's pretty high.
That's a good amount of money.
For a show that never existed. They have 4 guys on that show, 5 guys on that show. Yeah, I don't know. It's a lot of money. But the NFL makes so much fucking money.
But it's not the NFL we're talking about. We're talking about Fox.
Yeah, but but the NFL makes so much money for everything that Fox then can charge however many dollars for all the advertising. I mean, they're not showing the fucking dog show. I mean, they're showing NFL. It's like that's where they're making their cash.
I see what you're saying.
The ratings.
There could also be something to it about like the TV deals and like maybe timing wise, like Fox could get more because more people are watching because of Tom Brady. That 375 could be like an investment towards a new television rights
Right,
deal.
but you just said more people are watching because of Tom Brady.
And also Amazon.
The entire thing.
And Amazon's like coming in soon. So like maybe they're trying to stick it to be like, all right, maybe people are going to stop watching CBS to go to Amazon. Why not watch Fox?
Show me what this looks like in year 6 is what I want to know.
Are they trying to get people away from like red zone? Right? Like, are they trying to get people to, because like, I'm wondering what's
I like that strategic thought that just popped in your brain. It's like, where are they trying to corral these viewers? Are they
trying to be competitive against these other? Is that what they're doing here?
It's just like, is that what's driving them? Are they like, let's make people sit here and watch a full game so that they can hear all of Tom Brady, the greatest quarterback of all time, arguably the greatest athlete of all time, just talk about our sport, and they're just going to watch Fox all game instead of flip over to the Red Zone, channel 214 or whatever it is, and they're just going to watch all little snippets of the games and not care about who's announcing them? I don't know.
Like, like, is there any scenario where he's so good that this becomes a steal? I would argue probably not. Like, that's almost how you can judge a deal too, right? Like, if it wasn't 37 million, if it was 10 million, and even people then were like, holy shit, that's a lot of money. But then he comes in and he is just the best football analyst, and people have to hear the football opinions of Tom Brady on Fox, then it's like, oh, maybe this is actually a steal. I think at $37.5 million a year, there isn't a performance that he can put on television that it ends up being an awesome deal for Fox.
They crunched the numbers and they figured out that it was fucking worth it. Whether they're adding $40 million in advertising just by having Tom Brady in the booth, then that's the answer. I mean, they crunched the fucking numbers and he's worth that money. They're not dumb.
No, well, maybe. I'd also argue that a large portion of the country hates Tom Brady.
Would you say it's a large portion?
I don't think so.
Maybe not anymore. That was certainly true when the Patriots were dominant.
It was more true before he.
Yeah.
For whatever reason,
also,
the Tampa thing almost
winning,
makes him. Yeah.
As he kept winning, didn't he just like gain the respect of everyone? Maybe in the early days it was like the Belichick, Brady versus everybody, and then it just became like, how many can these guys win? I mean, even as a Jets fan, at some point you had to just bow to your master and just be like, it's like, you just are the greatest thing we've ever seen ever.
Yeah, there is certainly a degree of that, I guess. That it was the Tom Brady hatred was more like the undefeated Patriots team until they lost in the Super Bowl.
There's people out there that lived their lives hating Michael Jordan. It's just such it's an unfortunate life to live, because like, if you're just, I don't know, the Pacers fan or like a Detroit Pistons fan, or it's tough to like hate that. Like, people legitimately, I don't know.
Dude, if Michael Jordan was a hockey player for the New York Rangers, you would hate Michael Jordan.
Well, he'd be an unsuccessful, way too highly touted, absolutely fucking nobody guy like Henrik Lundqvist, who'd won nothing in his career.
And you got to remember that when these guys are so dominant, and I agree with what you're saying, Frankie. I take back that a large portion of the country hates Tom Brady. But these guys are beating.
We make that a graphic, by the way, Jake.
What?
That it says a large portion of the country hates Tom Brady.
No, come on, don't do that to me.
On the Foreplay podcast.
I think that was true at some point, but it's not true anymore. Yeah, I don't even know what
That's
point
something he would do to me. That's something that Jake would do to me. I'd be like, I want to slap my asshole, and it'd be like, Frankie wants to slap his asshole on today's Foreplay podcast.
Please don't put that on a graphic.
I think the point too of like, this is just what you do in that business, and clearly their market has figured it out, is probably what's right. And I mean, it makes me think of like when Band and Dunes will like give us free lodging and give us a couple free rounds of golf because we're gonna like promote the resort. We're like, does Band and Dunes need us to promote the resort? Like, they're Bandit, they don't need us to promote it, but it's like, you got to stay relevant. You got to keep, like, that's part of the system, is like, make sure people are still kind of talking about your spot. Make sure people are still kind of interested in like your spot. Make sure you're still throwing some videos out there and throwing some pictures out there, because even though things are great right now, even though we're booked up for 2 years, like, we constantly need to make sure we're playing the game with like marketing and with new entities coming through and like plugging it. And their system might be like, no, we're not going to necessarily see every single dollar from $375 million in return, but like, we're making a ton of money. We got to do something with it. And the way that you do something with it is like, make sure that you get news and a big name that comes in there, and like, you constantly drive some sort of interest and intrigue to it, even if it doesn't technically like, well, we run every dollar and we don't need to like do that. It's like, well, really, that's just kind of playing the game the right way and making sure that you're kind of like making the right moves. And also maybe it might be a risk of like, what if somebody else gets him?
It's not like the football bubble is going to pop in America. That's just not, you know what I mean? So it's the money's going to keep
too much money.
It's
too much money. Charles Barkley doesn't even come close to making this much money.
it's just a massive hedge. Like that's just a huge dollar figure. Like Riggs, you're talking about like tee times and staying. I know we're talking about wildly different things.
I'm just trying,
but it's just a mass. And I think that is the point. Like the point that you made is the right one. It just feels like this wild hedge on Tom Brady to be like saving Fox football. Like what the fuck? I mean, you're talking about $40 million a year. I'm sure with like bonuses and all the other crap that might go into it. It's like.
Has he agreed to this, or is it like a contract that has been offered to him?
I think he took it. I think he agreed to it.
Did Fox lose someone recently that I'm just forget? Like, did Fox lose an analyst that like everyone's gonna miss or something?
Dude, it's almost like in Formula One when like they just announced that they a different driver is gonna be one of their drivers the following year, and then one of their two drivers is like, that's like my car. That's what am I going to drive next year? I think it's like that. Sort of they're just saying like, yeah, no, when he's done, he's just coming here for $375 million. And whoever's currently there is probably just sitting there today like, yeah, I mean, see you later.
Truthfully, the writing is on the wall. Like this one's over.
You guys aren't going to believe how much Charles Barkley makes as a TNT announcer.
I'm going to say he makes $10 million a year.
Now I'm going to say 50.
A year?
$10 million a year.
I'm going to say he makes like 7 a year.
1.5.
What? Oh, then he's going to renew. I mean, he's
right. There's the first thing that I read when I looked it up. It said NBA legend Charles Barkley, quote, cheated out of $100 million. So it's something with like the deal or his agent. Something happened there. But $1.5 million for Charles Barkley is, woo. I mean, he should be making 10 times that.
Right. Yeah,
he's amazing.
It's a stunning number. It's a stunning number. He is. Yeah,
he's. I think Frankie. I think I said this to you one time. I think he might be the number one, like sports personality of all time.
Yeah, he's like he's up there. I mean, he's certainly up there. Depends on like how you rank that. There's obviously guys that have made much bigger splashes and have had more impact on like. But I don't know. He's way up. I mean, he's definitely top 5.
I know what you mean. And the internet kind of changed everything too. But like in terms of like a guy,
like Rodman is like just as like much of like an impact guy. Where it's like, what the fuck's this guy about?
I'm talking like post career.
Yeah,
guy who's talking about it. Charles was obviously great as an NBA player, but like if you're talking a guy who's really really good at his job and is a big personality, I think he's the best.
Yeah, he's the best. It's crazy he's making 1.5. That's fucking stunning.
Criminal.
Tom Brady's making way too much money.
I'm trying to find out
how much money did Tom Brady
and Witten made? Because
how much money did Tom Brady make in his career?
It can't be.
It can't be that much more than $375 million, is it?
No, it can't be, right? Because
I mean. That's
to be the greatest quarterback of all time, how much money did he get to literally play the sport?
Hasn't made that much.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I do. Go T.
No, I want you guys to guess, not Lurch.
I'm gonna say $420 million.
I'm gonna say $275 million.
$317 million.
So he's getting paid more cash to talk about the thing than to literally be the greatest at the thing. What are we talking about here? Fuck this deal. This is fucking crazy. Who's getting paid on the side for this one? Someone's getting cash. I'm seeing Marty Bird type shit here.
You were so supportive of this deal at the very beginning.
I gotta talk ass what the podcast is. You know, it's fucking. We essentially do this like it's live. Like we just talk shit out. It's fucking crazy that they're paying this guy $37 million a year when he was getting paid fucking less than on average to be the best.
Patrick Mahomes' current contract. Guess what that is?
I know it because I remember when they signed it.
Is it $45 million a year?
It's close.
42? What is it?
Yeah,
is
no,
it really?
Frankie's spot on. It's 10 years, $450 million.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like he's arguably like, the best up-and-comer, so that's the best up-and-coming contract. It's only a little bit more than just to be a TV analyst. Feels
so like when
that
you're sitting,
the right
when you're sitting in a fucking Fox like conference room and you're sitting at the table and you're deciding how are we going to drag people to our fucking channel? who brings more eyeballs? Patrick Mahomes on Sunday playing the game or Tom Brady talking about it? They literally are saying it's a coin flip. It's like, what are we talking about? The game is so much more important. If you have Tom Brady talking for a New York Jets versus Miami Dolphins game, no one's watching it because that game sucks. It's all about the product. If you play the Islanders this year, I mean, the Islanders and the Devils at one point were on like TNT, and I think it was the lowest rated game of the season. Like, no one watched it, regardless of who was on the fucking broadcast. I mean, it was an unwatchable hockey game. So
we were laughing last night how many people were watching Rangers post game with Hank and Balaket. I mean, we were like, we might be the
people.
only.
It was 1,200 people, like, just angrily watching it. And
my brother said
out.
under 1,000, and then like we were like, watch for like an extra 20 minutes, and we might be the only TV still watching this where they're like, all right, cut the broadcast. Like, this is just lose a viewer.
Devil's Advocate is saying, well, Fox has nothing to do with the content or like, you know, the product on the field. I get that they don't have any say in that. But fuck, man, don't you like find yourself in a situation where you feel lucky you get to like film the guys that play the game and you don't have to spend that much money on the announcers? Like, they could get by doing the same shit with like 30 million. I don't know. It seems just like a waste of money. I hate this deal. It's the worst deal fucking ever.
It just seems, and again, there's smart people clearly that like I'm sure they're making money and the network must be making them money and it makes sense. I just don't get how it makes sense, and I never will understand how it makes sense. I understand how Truly makes sense. Truly brings you from the gallery. Truly makes sense because it's quite simply delicious. It's clean, crisp, refreshing, and also there's over 30 flavors. And also, all cans have under 110 calories. Also, 1 gram of sugar and naturally gluten-free. It says, "What's your favorite flavor?" I'm gonna have to say my favorite flavor. I was drinking a raspberry lime yesterday. That was amazing. That was amazing.
No, are you guys see these new ones, and I got to see exactly what they call them, but I got them at the store the other day. Basically, they're these new ones that are like more colorful.
Yeah, there's ones like a mango chili.
No, it's like a new box of like, and they're like brighter, they're brighter colors, and like they're supposed to be like packing more of like a flavor punch. It's like a new box. I just brought them to Stu Finer's house the other day when he had his Stu Finer bash.
The margarita ones?
Oh, God, guys.
Mango chili is very
strawberry
interesting.
melon fizz, orange peach fizz. Those, Frank, or no?
Dude, and we
I think
brought
you're thinking
them...
of the margarita mix pack. I really do, but I don't know.
You kind of sounded like Marge Simpson there.
Well, there is over 30 flavors.
See, like this, like really bright ass colors. They're all like, you see that orange, you see that green lime one. It's like a kiwi one. They're like these bold flavors. They're these bold colors, and they're awesome looking cans. Awesome looking cans. We got them down in Alabama when we played with Dr. Brett McCabe. We grabbed a bunch of cans, which I also learned like you probably shouldn't be doing that when you're having like a therapy session, which they used to do in the old days, and I'm bringing that back. But I had drank Truly's during the whole thing.
The Truly Punch for you?
It might be the Truly Punch, all right? It might be the Truly Punch. My point to you guys is I saw these cans, and it blew my freaking mind. It might be the Punch. Maybe it's the Truly Punch. But they are so vibrant. It said new box on it. I'm a huge fan of Truly. I love Truly. Our commercial with Truly just came out like a couple weeks ago. I was super sunburnt in it, like I am today. Just forget to wear sunscreen all the time.
You're so sensitive about stuff like that. No, I don't
that,
think anybody
that
notices.
commercial was fucking absurd. Come on, no one noticed it. I'm wearing a t-shirt. All you see is a red line across my neck, like someone just smacked me across the neck right before it. And then my hand, one part of my hand that was holding it was just red. And everything else, they made me wear a t-shirt. Everything else was pure white. And I'm just like standing there with just a red neck and a red hand. Everyone was making fun of me. Truly's the best, though.
TrulyHardSeltzer.com. Find Truly Hard Seltzer near you at TrulyHardSeltzer.com. They bring you from the gallery. And we have one of the questions from Chris is kind of in line with what we're saying is, Are TV golf commentators actually good at analyzing golf swings, or is hindsight 20/20 for them? On TV broadcasts, and this is a great point, I've thought about this before but never really vocalized it, when they break down the slow-mo swing replays, they already know the outcome of the shot. They say nothing but good things about Rory's knee bend and follow-through and all that when he drives at 350 down the middle, but they nitpick Cam Smith on the slightest millimeter flaw in elbow bend or hip rotation whenever they already know the shot was duck-hooked into the woods. Do you think any TV commentator like Sir Nick or Colt Knost, without knowing where the ball landed, would predict the outcome of a pro golfer's tee shot by only seeing the slow-mo view? That would actually be an incredible video.
That would be a great segment for them to run. I mean, you got to get guys like, I think Nick and Colt would be fine with it if you're just like, all right, we're going to show you this swing in slow motion, and you got to tell us what you think the result is. That would be a very interesting segment. Very interesting.
I will say, shout out Johnny Miller. I thought he actually could do that like very, very well. But I would be.
What do you mean? But what do you mean? Because they all do, right? They all do kind of the same thing.
Yeah. How would you know?
I guess everything is pre-recorded. I guess, isn't it? Every cut that goes to him. No, but I feel like when we're like,
no, but I'm not saying pre-record. We're saying
live golf. I understand the question. I feel like when I was watching Johnny Miller, when it was like a live shot, we were watching it all together, that he would call it like appropriately based on their swing motion. But maybe that's wrong. That's just a gut feel, honestly, we're going off of right now.
So you're saying like the second they would make contact, he would be like, oh, that's going right?
It felt that way. He was also like the most critical guy in the world and kind of funny that way. But like I felt like he had a good call on it. But maybe that could be wrong. Do you not? Who would you say is the best out of like if you were gonna guess?
I bet. We're saying that we don't know because it doesn't exist.
Right.
But if you're asking me who I think would be the best at it,
yeah,
probably Sir Nick. He's just been around forever. It's all about being around and seeing the most swings to me.
Sir Nick could also just be full of shit, the most full of shit. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I don't know if I think right now to me they would all be tied, right? Because like they go to the slow-mo and they're like, break it down for us, Colt. What happened? The Colt's like, all right, at the top here, this looks good. And then, you can really see the elbows start to flare out there. And then he hits it out to the right. But, like, Colt already knows the ball went 100 yards right. So, obviously, he's, like, breaking it down. And whereas if you just showed them random slow-mo swings and we're like, where did this ball end up and why do you think it did? And they were able to actually call it out and be like, oh, he got a little underneath it there, or you got a little bit more too inside on the way back. Oh, it's going to bring it back over the top. That's hard to save. He's trying to flip it. Didn't flip it enough. Oh, it's going out to the right. And then they showed that was the actual result. That'd be fucking amazing.
Well, I know what we're doing the next time we have Colt on the show. I know for a fact what we're doing.
Definitely.
We show him 5 swings and see what we get.
That would be really fun.
So what, you show him like the head-on version, and then you show him the full swing from like. You gotta find a video where it's like, it's like that head-on version in slow-mo, and then you show him the real-time shot after he makes his call.
Yeah.
Yep.
Love that. And then
you gotta see the full swing, but you don't want to see where the ball goes.
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting idea.
I wonder how good they'd be. I bet they'd probably be pretty good.
There is a chance that they're really good at it.
I mean, where do you expand this idea to? Like, do you go to fucking Butch Harmon and be like, I mean, are you worth all like being a coach? Like, do you know what's going on with these swings?
Like, I know.
Just call him out. Hey, Butch, do you have any idea what you're doing? Like,
he's not
where's this ball go?
Like,
where's this ball go, Butch?
I know that if you showed me 5 swings, I'd go 0 for 5.
Correct.
Yeah, I think so.
I wonder if show JT. You think John Tillery's up for this challenge?
Yes.
Yeah. How good are you at knowing exactly what's wrong with the golf swing that you could watch a guy in slow motion head on, make contact with the ball, follow through, and know exactly where it went?
Dude, also, it has to be a pro too, because like if you have one of our swings, they're just so painfully obvious. It's like, dude, he couldn't hit it left if he tried based on setup. But like a Rory, can you really tell like that minute detail of like a high push versus a high draw? No way.
No way, dude. off the contact, it's got to be the same shit. It's
right.
Like there's
I know.
such a minuscule change somewhere in the downswing that made it go from its apex left to its apex right.
Yeah.
There's just gotta be something so.
And did they get slow-mo, or is it just like...
They can slow-mo it
Slow-mo
as much
for
as they
sure.
want.
Now I'm starting to think I might have a chance.
Jesus Christ,
Chance, dude. You're gonna see the ball come off the club face for a yard.
Dude, my only, and I'm not going to put it on JT that he's going to do it and that he would be fantastic at it. But what I do know is that guy is obsessed with golf swings. He calls himself a swing junkie. All he does is watch golf swings. All he's done, he talked about it like even when he was still playing, even when he was like pretty young, he was like, I just loved watching swings. Like I brought up Tiger because when I was down there, it was when Tiger had been spotted at Southern Hills. And I was like, oh, this is pretty crazy. People are going nuts. Tiger's at Southern Hill. And he was just like ready to talk about, oh, I can see the difference in the Tiger swing now that most people can't see, that like what's making it, how he's making it work the way that he is. So like guys like that, and I'm sure there's guys who are just like that, who do TV, who are just out in the world, who are obsessed with the golf swing, and they can tell little parts of it that make a difference on where the ball goes.
Speaking of that Tiger Woods joke, every time someone says Tiger, I say Woods. This happened to me in real life the other day. I heard this in conversation, and I had to call the guy out and be like, what the fuck was that? We're at my buddy, the Guido Torpedo. He was the fucking police officer for Tiger Woods at Bethpage State Park when we were there for the PGA Championship, and then also was there at Winged Foot and was like giving us all this inside information about where Tiger was going to be, when he wasn't going to be, all this blah, 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 blah. So we're at Guido Torpedo's house the other day, and he's like, it's my first time going there, and he's showing me all of his memorabilia that he had, and he comes up and he goes, Frank, look at this. And I'm looking at, they call me Frank, a couple of my friends, but he looked at me, I looked at this thing he had, and it's a fucking white Tiger Woods hat. Tiger Woods signed it. And then there's a picture of the Guido Torpedo walking with them in his uniform. Tiger Woods signed it. Awesome. He saw him. He brought it all to Winged Foot, got it signed when it was from PGA. Whatever. He's walking back to where he had this memorabilia displayed. And someone goes, what's that? And he goes, oh, it's Tiger. And someone from his family, some like 19-year-old kid goes, oh, Tiger Woods? Because someone said, what is that? He goes, Tiger. And he stopped Anthony. He goes, Tiger Woods? And I said, I let it go for like a minute, and we're watching the game, and I'm smirking to myself. And I said, now who the fuck did you think he was talking about? Never met this guy in my entire life. I said, now who the fuck did you think he was talking about when he walked with a golf hat and said, this is Tiger's signature? He goes, oh no, I was just like making sure. He's like, you don't have to be an ass. I was like, no. Like, we're gonna absolutely fight now because like you hear the name Tiger, it's just like, what are you thinking, fucking Tony? I mean, how is that possible? I couldn't believe it happened to me in real life. I honestly could not believe.
I wonder if that generation, though, I mean, there's probably a good amount of kids from 13 to 19, 20, 21 who probably are like, I really don't know who Tiger is.
Dude, he literally was like, I don't watch golf. I don't know. He's like, I don't know. I was like, I'm going to strangle you, dude.
You would think that hopefully 2019 would have nipped that
helped
in the bud a little bit.
Bro, we talk about all the time, is he the most famous guy on the planet at times? Like, I mean, the way he just takes over social media and pop culture and sport. Like, these are all just the things we have in the world. I mean, I don't know. It's like, what else do you have in the world? How do you not know who Tiger Woods is? You never crossed your table. Never once did that name be like, oh, I should check this guy out. You know what I mean? Like, it's like Dalai Lama, the presidents, and then Tiger Woods. Like, these names, like the Pope. These are names you know.
You got to know Tiger.
Yeah, it's also a guy that he clearly had heard of, and he's making it seem like he has heard of multiple Tigers that are.
That's the point that I wanted him to explain.
Oh, is it Tiger Woods or is it Tiger Johnson? It's like,
did you think it was the guy from the Frosted Flakes box, you fucking idiot? What'd you think? Who? Who else? Who?
So you're never going back to that guy's house?
No.
All right, boys. Anybody got anything else?
I don't think so.
Well,
no.
go
I got
Rangers,
nothing.
man. All I can say is please
Yeah, I could use
go
a couple
Blues.
dollars. You know, I would like that.
That's
to
right.
win a game.
You'd love a Game 7 loss, couple wins, and then you know what?
No,
End this thing. Hit it hard. Screw Frankie.
I hate the Penguins too, but it's just fucking crazy how much I hate the Rangers. It
I know.
drives me. It's what makes me wake up in the morning.
Let's go Blues.
Honestly.
We'll see how things unfold after this announcement. We're all going to take Scottie to win the PGA Championship. Hit it hard.
Hit it hard.
Hit it hard.
Hit hard.